We couldn't have hoped for anything better on the first day of the Republican convention. There was drama on the floor. The Never Trump movement put to rest unexpected, powerful speakers like Patricia Smith, mother of Sean Smith, who was killed in Benghazi, General Mike Flynn, Rudy Giuliani, and the star of the evening, Melania Trump. She humanized her husband, spoke beautifully, displayed her education, poise, and success in her own right. That didn't stop liberals, though, from accusing Mrs. Trump of plagiarizing the speech Michelle Obama gave at the Democratic convention in 2008. These are the parts they're talking about.
Values, like you work hard for what you want in life.
The values that you work hard for what you want in life.
That your word is your bond, that you do what you say you're going to do.
That your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise.
That you treat people with dignity and respect.
That you treat people with respect.
Because we want our children and all children in this nation to know that the only limit to the height of your achievements is the reach of your dreams and your willingness to work hard for them.
Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them.
Joining me now is managing editor at Red State, Leon Wolf. Leon, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me on again.
All right, Leon, you just heard it. We heard the side-by-side comparison between Michelle Obama in 2008 and Melania Trump now in 2016. They both talked about hard work. They both talked about dignity. They both talked about honesty, their word being their bond, the exact same phrase. They both talked about instilling family values and that the only limits on achievement are the limits we place on ourselves. Bluntly, Leon, was that plagiarism?
You know, I think it's difficult to say that it's anything other than, at the very least, cribbing. I mean, the RNC's defense throughout the day and the Trump campaign's defense throughout the day is that a lot of people say a lot of phrases that sound very similar, and that's true. Having that many phrases that sound that similar in that exact order, it's pretty clear that someone cribbed from Michelle Obama's speech, which I don't think independently would be all that big of a deal. I think that the Trump campaign's reaction to it has made it a much more big deal than it otherwise would be.
Right. I read about it this morning, saw it first thing in the morning, and I honestly didn't think it was that big of a deal. My first reaction was that this reaction from liberals was probably instigated by Hillary Clinton because, shockingly enough, two women in the public eye, both Melania and Michelle, put value on honesty, and that's something that Hillary Clinton doesn't relate to at all.
You know, I don't know how much of this is generated by Hillary, but I will say that it is interesting the extent to which this has become a controversy as compared to a roughly equivalent controversy with Barack Obama, who cribbed pretty much wholesale an entire paragraph or an entire section of a speech that was once given by Deval Patrick. That, I think, got relatively little media attention. This one is getting a lot. But I think that part of that, as I mentioned, is the fact that the Trump campaign's response to this has sort of been all over the map. You have them telling CNN earlier on the day, no one's going to be disciplined for this, no one's going to face any consequences, we think this is no big deal. Then somebody apparently told the folks from Morning Joe that Trump is furious, heads are going to roll. Just knowing what we know about Donald Trump and about human nature, we have to assume those latter reports are correct, because I do think that Melania Trump's speech would otherwise have been far and away the highlight of night one. And instead, everybody's talking about this plagiarism issue today, and I think Trump has to be just furious that it has come to this and that his wife is getting embarrassed like this for something that I don't think really even wanted to do, which was to come to the convention and give a speech.
Right, but I think this is an opportunity, too, to call out the liberal tactic of hijacking the narrative. They don't want to focus on what Melania Trump actually said. They don't want to focus on the fact that not only is she beautiful, she's poised and educated and successful as a businesswoman in her own right before she ever met Donald Trump. They don't want to talk about her appeal. They don't want to talk about what she said. They don't want to talk about her story of immigration, how she worked hard, came to the U.S., then acquired her citizenship, and that she said it's the greatest privilege on planet Earth to be a United States citizen. They refuse to talk about that. They just want to accuse her of this to avoid the real conversation.
Yeah, I think without a doubt it was a very powerful speech. It reminded me a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger's speech in 2004. Maybe it's just because I grew up and kind of came of age in the day of Reagan that I have a real soft spot personally for people who come from these former Eastern Bloc countries, and they come to America and they talk about how much they love freedom and how proud they are to become American citizens after having left oppression in their homeland. And definitely, although I'm not a huge fan of Trump, I was extremely impressed. I walked away out of the convention center tonight thinking it was clearly the best performance of the night. And it's unfortunate that it's come to this. And I do think that the Trump campaign would probably have been a little better served to have found someone to fall on their sword over this mistake so that they could really kind of move on past this controversy that's boiling up now and say, look, it's so-and-so's fault. Clearly they should have run this by us before, and let's move on and talk about what she said.
Right, I see your point. I'm still stuck on the fact that I think it's hypocritical of liberals. Just to go back to a point you made before, President Obama did this exact same thing in 2008, I believe it was, a speech that he ripped off Deval Patrick. We have a video of this. Let's take a look.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. Just words. Just words. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. Just words. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Just words. I have a dream. Just words.
Don't tell me words don't matter. I have a dream. Just words. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. Just words.
Leon, I guess my sticking point here is it's either right, it's either okay to do this, or it's either wrong to do it. But there can't be a double standard in the media. There can't be a double standard instigated by liberals that it's okay when President Obama very blatantly does it, but then it's not okay when Melania Trump does it.
Sure, I think objectively that's true, but so much of politics is how you manage a crisis, right? I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but you know the real question is how do you respond? How do you deal with that? Barack Obama, when he did that and was called on it, pretty much immediately said, yeah, I did it. I stole it. I heard what Deval Patrick said. I liked his thought, and I incorporated it as my own. And surely there's some controversy, and apparently, he called Deval Patrick, and they all worked it out. I think that kind of helped that to die down. Now, would this have been better if the Trump campaign had come out and said that immediately? I don't know. Clearly, there is a double standard between Republicans and Democrats in the media. But, I do think that there is something instructive to say that the way that you respond to a crisis is going to do as much to kind of tamp it down and make it a short-lived crisis. And responding to it poorly just can draw it out of the media cycle. That's just the way our modern world works.
Sure, I see your point, and that's probably a pretty classic element of public relations too. It's not so much what happens, it's how you handle what happens. So it'll be interesting to see what the Trump campaign does, if they're able to move on from this, or if this is the defining story of at least the first day or two of the convention. Leon, we are out of time for today, but thanks so much for being here. Our next tipping point with Kevin O'Brien is the unorthodox protesters at the GOP convention. Stick with us, we're back in a minute.